Okay, can someone confirm if my screen is visible? Are we good to go? Come on. Okay, Jyoti, thank you for the confirmation. So let's get it started. So we were discussing about what? We were discussing about cursors in Java collections. So when I say cursors are also called as iterators, right? So which is used to retrieve the specific objects individually. So why we should go for cursors? Because when you try to print the reference variable of the collections class, so we have seen these things already. Why one has to go for iterators? Because through Java cursors we are able to get hold of, we are able to catch the individual object. For example, so when I have a collection object like array list, so let me take an array list and type string, right? And I want to add some numbers. So I want to add some numbers like numbers dot add 1 1. Let me quickly add three numbers. So 1 1, 1 2, and 1 3, and 1 3. So these numbers are in the form of string. No worries. So when I try to print, when I try to print numbers is what? Numbers is the reference variable of the array list class. Yes or no? So numbers is the reference variable of array list class. But when I try to print the numbers, okay, it is going to give us the list of numbers that has been stored in the object. I do not want this. I want to do some manipulation, right? I want to do some manipulation. Before even doing the manipulation, if I want to catch each and every element, if I want to retrieve each and every element individually, so this is coming as a collectively, but I want to get the each and every, or I want to fetch the each and every element individually, I will have to use iterators. Okay, so this is the basic idea about iterators. So now, so what are the next 2 points that we have? There are three types of cursors. The first cursor is what? Enumeration. We have completed in the last session. Today we are going to see about iterator. So iterator is the second cursor. So why one has to go for iterator? Before even understanding that, so what are the things that we have discussed about enumeration? Enumeration is an interface and it has some methods. Okay, it was introduced in JDK 1.0 version. First point, very clear. It is a legacy cursor. Why legacy cursor? Just try to remember any library or any class that was introduced in JDK 1.0 version, the first version of Java. They come under the legacy category, right? So introduction itself clearly says, try to identify if a particular class or if a particular interface, if it got introduced in 1.0 version, does mean that it is a legacy thing. Right? So legacy means you do not have to, get any kind of confusion. So legacy simply says what? That was introduced in JDK 1.0 version or the first Java version, right? And you cannot instantiate an interface. Instantiation means object creation is not possible. And we have discussed something how to create enumerations, and these things are already known. Now there are some drawbacks in the enumeration. What are the drawbacks? It is only applicable for legacy classes. Why? It was introduced in JDK 1.0. So only the legacy classes that are introduced in the same JDK 1.0 would be capable to use this enumeration cursor. For example, we have discussed about vector class, right? So what is the second point? It allows only read operation. It allows only read operation. It cannot perform any kind of insert operation, remove operation, and replace operation. Okay, to overcome one of these drawbacks, let me reiterate, to overcome one of these drawbacks, so we will go for what? Iterator. Okay, theoretically, the points are, the same points could not be applicable for the iterator. So there will be some changes. So let me copy the same thing and let me paste it here. Okay, there is a change in the first point. So what is the change? Iterator. So it was not introduced in JDK 1.0. Iterator was introduced in JDK 1.2 version. Remember. So when something is getting introduced in the later versions of Java, or the when something is not introduced in JDK 1.0 or the first version, it is called as the non-legacy. It is a non-legacy cursor. Second point. Okay, let me remove all this. The third point is, since it is a non-legacy cursor, it is applicable for all the collection classes, such as it is applicable for all the collection classes and interfaces, such as list interface, queue interface, and what do we have? List, queue, and set interface. Right? So the fourth point is going to be the same thing. Since iterator is also an interface, you cannot instantiate the interface. Instead of enumeration, so I need to go for iterator. Right? Fifth point. The fifth major point is it is a universal cursor because it is applicable. It is applicable for all the collection classes. That's why it is called as what? Universal cursor. So it has an universal identity since there is no restriction for iterator. There is no restriction. It can be used anywhere in the collection framework. That's why we call it as what? Also call it as universal. Why we cannot call this as universal? Because there is a specification here. It is applicable only for legacy collection classes. So no such thing is there in the iterator. Hope these points are making some sense. Okay. Now we will understand more about this programmatically. So let me take one small program. Okay. So I want to store list of flowers. I want to store list of animals. Okay. So I am adding some 4 animals. Any 4 animals. Let me add a lion. Why I am using animals? Because the names are very much simplified. Lion, tiger, right? Animals. So I am adding each and every animals. Animals are in the form of string type. So I am taking string as the generic one. So lion I have added, tiger I have added. Let me add something like elephant. Let me add something like dog. Okay, it's very clear. So I have created an ArrayList object, right? And I have added 4 objects. The first object is lion, second object is tiger, third object is elephant, and fourth object is dog. Right? This piece of code is going to do few things behind the scenes. When I say behind the scenes, so what does it mean? In the memory level. Okay, let us where are we standing in the memory? Let us understand how it can be imagined from the memory level. Okay, so let me copy the code. Let me paste it here for our reference. Now you see, guys. So this is the piece of code that I have. Okay, ideally, right? The first line will create an object, right? So just imagine like this. So an object is getting created. Right? You can also imagine in your own way, but this imagination is going to be, it will make more sense. So this is going to have a reference variable of what? Animals. Right? And this is going to store what? Usually for an array list, internally there will be 10 blocks will be created. Yes or no? So 10 array block will be created. So you can imagine like this also. For the simplicity, what I am doing, I am directly pasting the value. So lion, so we have tiger, we have elephant, last animal is what? Dog. Right? Most trustable animal in the world is what? Dog. most faithful animal, isn't it? So object has been created, right? So this is how we can imagine from the memory level. So now what I want to do, I want to create a cursor here. I want to do what? I want to create a cursor, right? The same steps you are going to follow. So in the enumeration, we have got to know some list of points about enumeration, right? And we have also discussed about steps to achieve enumeration. Okay, same point. Let me copy. Let me paste it here. So steps to achieve iterator. Okay, so create an iterator reference. Let me remove this. So it is not legacy, so this point is not necessary, right? So the method name is going to be iterator. I mean, return type is iterator, and the method name is also going to be what? Iterator in the lowercase. The first letter is going to be lowercase, so which is the naming convention for the methods. So lowercase iterator, right? So the object has been created for what? ArrayList, right? ArrayList. So animals we have, right? New ArrayList. So we have added four animals, four famous animals, 3 wild animals and 1 domestic animal. So let me remove this. So to achieve iterator, we need to do what? We need to use the iterator interface, and we need to create a reference for iterator interface. Reference variable is created, and use the reference variable of the ArrayList class dot use the iterator. So internally there is a method called iterator method. Okay, it is going to call the iterator method. So let me copy this and let me paste this code. Okay, this is what it is, right? Because of this line. Okay, so because of this line, some more changes are going to happen behind the scenes. So what is the new line that has been added? So till here, these are the memory level understanding. Okay, after adding this line, after adding this piece of line, okay, what are the things that are going to happen behind the scenes that we will understand? Okay, and a same object will be created, iterator object will be created, right? I mean, iterator reference variable will be created. So it is going to have the same. Let me copy this. Elephant and dog, right? Okay, a cursor will be created because iterator is a cursor. Okay, a kind of cursor will be created that is going to be pointing just before the first object. It will not point directly to the first object. It will just point just before the first object. Okay, its placeholder is set in such a way that this will never going to point to the exact object just before the first object. Okay, because of this line, these are the things that are happening behind the scenes. Now my job is to do what? My job is to move this cursor from one placeholder to the another placeholder. At the time of this movement, I need to fetch the values. I need to retrieve the each and every values so that I can perform a kind of manipulation. Okay, I can make use of this each and every object values, and I can do a kind of manipulation according to my needs. Okay, this line has made this cursor. Okay, I want to introduce few more methods to you. Okay, there are 3 methods. There are 3 important methods, or the 3 significant methods in the iterators. There are 3 important methods in the Java iterators. So what are they? Okay. The first method is hasNext method. The second method is next method. Third method is remove method. So I will give you the definition of each and every method. Let us understand each and every method one by one. Okay, the first method is hasNext method. Look at the naming convention. It is practicing the naming convention. Okay, it is as per the naming convention. The method name will follow what? Camel casing, isn't it? hasNext method, right? The purpose of this method is to do what? Let me go to the program. Okay, so when I do, just system.out.println, by using this iterator reference variable, and on top of this, if I call hasNext method, it is going to do what? It is going to tell you whether the element is available or not available from the place where it is pointing to. Let me repeat. The moment you use this hasNext method, it is going to tell you whether the elements are available or not, or whether the object is available or not available. Are you getting this? So it can tell you in two ways. It can communicate to you in two ways. The first way is, if it is available, it's going to say true, or if it is available, if it is not available, it is going to say false. This is how it can communicate to you, right? So having said all this, okay, when I try to call hasNext method on top of this particular reference variable itr, okay, when I run this code, it is returning true. It is returning true. Why it is returning true? Go back to the code. Go back to the memory representation. Okay, now it is pointing towards this line, right? The moment you invoke hasNext method, right? So it is going to see, it is going to check, okay, is there any object is available? Is there any object is available or not? Yes, an object is available. The name of the object is what? Lion object. Right? It will return what? It will return the information in the form of true or false. That's it. You can get two answers, either true or false. If it is available, you will get true. If it is not available, you will get false. So since it is available, you are getting true. Are you getting this? So the explanation could be what? Very simple. Okay. So it is returning true or false. So return type could be what? Boolean. Return type has to be what? Boolean. Why Boolean? On calling this method, you will either get answers in two forms, true or false. True or false is obviously the data type of Boolean, yes or no, right? So it can be used anywhere. That's why it is called as public. So this is the complete method prototype, right? Now, what is the explanation that I can give? Can I copy and paste the same thing? Okay, let me write it in my own way. Please be informed that when you invoke hasNext method on the iterator reference variable, it will return true or false. True will be returned when objects or when at least one object is available. When object is available with respect to the cursor, and false will be returned when there are no objects available. Right? Are you getting this? So this is the significant effect of hasNext method. So what is the next method? Next method is the next method itself. The name itself is what? Next. So let us understand the significance of the next method. So next method is as easy as the hasNext method, but the purpose is little different. Okay, don't get confused with this keyword. These keywords are very specific. By looking at this, you can identify what kind of value it is going to return. So next is going to find if there is any next element or not. Okay, so let me try to understand how this next method is going to work. Okay, system.out.println, I am trying to call the next method on top of iterator reference. Okay, we will understand what actions it is going to do. We will understand how helpful this next method is going to be. Right, if I run this code, right, we are getting lion. So this is giving true, as we all know, right, and this is going to return lion. So what is happening? So usually you see only one thing here. What you see? You are seeing, okay, it is returning something. That something is lion. But you don't see some other thing. What is that you don't see? Okay, so when you call the next method on top of the iterator, let me remove this. Okay, so let me add this as next method here. Okay, next method. One cursor, and this is what? This is ITR. The name of this is ITR. Reference. This is a reference variable name. So now you are calling next method. Okay, when you call next method, it is going to do what? It is going to check, is there any object? Okay, it is going to check there is an object. We know that there is already an object because of hasNext method. There is already an object is there. It is going to return this object. Firstly, it is going to return this object, right? So lion will be returned to you, because since you are calling this, the value lion will be returned to you, and also it will ensure that this cursor is getting moved to the next point. Not tiger, it will not face to the tiger. Just above tiger and below lion, there will be a space. Okay, now this cursor will be pointed there. Now what you get lion in the console. That is what we got. That is a return value. Okay, what is a lion? Lion is an object. Again, what is a lion? Lion is a return value. So I can make changes like the return type of next is what? Object type. Right? When you call this method, it's returning something. What is that something? Object type. Lion is an object. Since you can call it for every method, I can do it for, since you can use it in every collection, I can use it as public. Okay, I can write like this. Please be informed that when you invoke next method on the reference variable, it will do two operations. Okay, what is the first one? It will retrieve the object and will be returned. Okay, the cursor will be moved to the next placeholder. So when I say placeholder, it is not going to point directly to the object, just before the object, thus before the next object, and just after the previous object. So this is what the pointer is. Are you getting this? Now it is pointing here, right? So far good. Right, now when I do the same thing, when I try to do the same thing, let us do some repetitions. Okay, so this is the first time. Okay, and I want to do it for the second time, third time, fourth time. Second time, I'm just repeating this. Okay, let us keep repeating this for fourth time, for 4 times. Third time, fourth time. Because of my repetitions, what will happen behind the scenes? So let us talk about the second time. So go to the screen. I'm calling the same method over and over again. First as next method is invoked, second next method is invoked. Let's go to the paint screen. Okay, now firstly what is getting invoked? As next method is getting invoked. So because of this method invocation, the job of this method is to do what? It will check, is there any next element or not. It will return you the output in the two forms, either true or false. Yes, there is a trigger. Okay, it cannot tell you that there is a trigger. It will say true, right? So true will be displayed in the console. Right, after this, which method is getting invoked? After this, you are invoking next method. The purpose of next method is to do what? It will return you the object value. It will return you the object value, right? So tiger will be returned to you, right? At the same time, it is going to do what? It is going to do this cursor will be moved to the next placeholder. Again repeat. So you are invoking what? hasNext method. It is going to check is there any next element or not, isn't it? Elephant is there. It will not say elephant is there. It will say true or false. It will say true. The way it is conveying is in the form of boolean value. Right after this, you are calling the next method. The job of the next method is to what? Return elephant, return object, and move the cursor to the what? To the next placeholder, isn't it? Now, stop. So now again you are invoking what? As next element. It will try to find either is there any next element or not. Yes, there is a next element in the name of dog, but you will get true or false. Of course, it is true. And after that, you are calling what? You are calling next method. Next method is going to return dog. At the same time, the cursor will be moved to the next placeholder. Okay, there is an imaginary placeholder here, right? So now it is pointing towards here. Okay, because of this repetitions, what are the things that will happen in the program because of this repetitions? Okay, I will get true, 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 true 4 times. 4 times true, 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 true 4 times, and I am able to retrieve lion, tiger, elephant, dog. Okay, what if I try to invoke this for the 5th time? I want to do this for what? For the 5th time. Okay, let me call this method. I'm calling this 5th time. Okay, firstly, what I'm calling hasNext method. Okay, this hasNext method will check is there any object is there or not. There are no such objects because dog was the last object that was added. After dog, no other objects are added. It is empty. There is nothing to be displayed. So it will it say is it empty? No, it will not say is it empty. It will say in the boolean form, which is what? False. Right? Obviously, the last line has to be what? False. If I run this code, we need to get it as false. After dog, we are getting false. Okay. And again, what if I try to call the next method? What if I try to call the next method? The job of the next method is to do 2 major things. One is it will retrieve the object and it will be returned. But there is no object here. After dog, can you see any objects here? We don't see any objects here. But still you want to call next method. But however, there are no objects. Okay, when you are so stubborn to call the next method where there are no objects, even compiler is also so stubborn to give you an error. Whatever it is going to give, you cannot call, because when you encounter false, you need to stop. When you are so stubborn that you will not stop, the compiler is also so stubborn that it will give you this exception. Java.util. No such element exception. Are you getting this? So I can write a note here. Please be informed that when you invoke the next method, when hasNext method invocation has written false, you will get the below error. What is error that we got? No such element exception. Okay, by this can you understand that okay, we need to stop. Okay, we need to stop retrieving the elements as soon as you encounter false. Are you getting this? Making sense now? You need to stop this. Okay, now don't you observe there is a pattern here? There is a pattern. Okay, there is a lot of repetition. I'm calling hasNext method for how many times? For 4 times. And also there is a condition here. So this is talking about what? Condition. What kind of condition? You need to call the next method only if hasNext method is returning true. If the hasNext method is returning false, you need to stop calling the next method. Okay? If I convert this algorithm into a loop, okay, I can remove all these lines of code. How many lines of code that I have written? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines of code, right? Readability is reduced. I can remove all this. I can just use one while loop and I can place a condition. this while loop will always accepts what? True or false, right? So the condition will be like, I will invoke hasNext method on top of itr reference. Okay, 4 times it will return true, 5th time it will return false. Okay, for all the true conditions, I'm going to do what? I'm going to retrieve the object. So when it becomes false, anyhow, the control will come out of this loop. If I run this, okay, the output is going to be same, but we are able to avoid what? We are able to avoid this exception, because this exception is being taken care by this while loop. Yes or no? Because this hasNext method and this while loop will be called as long as the condition is true. How many times the condition is true? For the first 4 times the condition is true. So for all the true conditions, okay, this gets invoked for the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, right? For the false condition, this will not get executed. This will be skipped, isn't it? Right? So I hope you are clear about what the hasNext method and the next method and the internal things. Okay, I want to introduce one more method here. Okay, if you want to imagine this in the diagrammatical representation, very simple, guys. A simple while loop is there. Okay, this while loop will get executed as long as the condition is true, right? As long as the condition is true, the while loop will get executed. Okay, so the while loop will be skipped when the condition is what? When the condition becomes false. Okay, it will be skipped and it will come out of the while loop. So this is the false condition. So for the first 4 times, you can see that this while loop is getting executed for the first 4 times. So for the 5th time, this while loop will not get executed. This is the 5th time. Right? It will be skipped. Okay, it is going to skip this part. It's going to skip this part for the 5th time. Making sense, everyone? Yes, no, since we have on leave for 2 days, I am discussing all this once again. What? Answer you. Type your answers. Are you with me or not? Okay. Now the last method on top of the iterator. Okay. Remove method is there. So this is the one of the important methods. The manipulation part we are getting into the manipulation part. So how we are going to do the manipulation with the remove method? Okay. The return type of remove method is void. Okay. When I say the return type is void, so the access modifier is public. When I say the return type is void, what does it really mean is you cannot use that in the system.out.println. Please remember, you cannot queue like this because it is not returning anything, so it is not going to catch any value, so that you cannot do this. You cannot use this method like this, itr.remove. You cannot place that in the system.out.println statement. First observation you have to make. For all the Java cases, when the return type is void, please remember that it cannot be used in system.out.println statement. Okay, one of the takeaways. Don't forget this is the rule, because this return type is void, it means it is not returning anything. Right? So how we can utilize this remove method? The same program let me take. Let us go back to the previous program itself. Okay. Now you see first time, second time, third time. So keep these things in mind. Now what I'm trying to do, so did you observe we have a lion, we have a tiger, we have elephant. Okay, these 3 things are the wild animals. They come under wild animals category. Okay, and dog is a domestic animal. So I want to store only the wild animals. So I want to remove dog, which is a domestic animal. So that is my case study. So I want to develop a program in such a way that this domestic animal needs to be removed. Right? But we know what is an animal. We know dog. We know what is an animal. We know the animal is dog. I want to remove this. Okay. So how we can utilize this? So now let me see. We know that the dog has been added in the last. Just an assumption. We already know that the dog object has been added lastly, right? So I am using the remove method exactly. Why? I mean itr dot remove. Okay. Let us print the object before removing. Okay. Let us print all the animals before removing, and let us print the list of all animals after using this. Let us see what is happening internally. Okay, the moment I run this, okay, we are removing. We should remove here. We should remove this one. That is giving us an, okay. See, previously before doing any manipulations, we are able to print all the animals. Okay, we have lion, we have tiger, we have elephant, we have dog. Okay, and this set of instructions is giving us true lion, and this set of instruction is giving us true tiger. Okay, and this set of instruction is giving you what? Elephant, I mean true elephant, and again, so this set of instruction is giving you what? It's giving you true. Okay, and you are using itr dot remove. Okay, and it is giving you dog also. Dog also it is giving you, for the time sake it is giving you dog. Why it is giving you dog? We will see that. Okay, over here what you are able to see, you are able to see what? The last element, which is false. There are no such elements. Then after that you are printing. Okay, here what is removed? Here elephant is removed, isn't it? Okay, I want to remove dog, so I am placing it one side. Okay, let me copy the same code and put it in the screen. Okay, let me try to code here. Okay, all the instructions are covered, I guess. Okay, it looks good. Right, let us see one by one. Okay, let me redo the same things. So we have an iterator. I mean, we have the collection object, and we also have the iterator object, and the collection objects has a list of elements. Like, what is the first element that we have? Order: lion, tiger, elephant, and dog, isn't it? So we have lion, we have tiger, we have elephant, we have dog. Okay, now you see the functionality of what? Remove method. We are going to see the functionality of remove method. Okay, this object is named as what? Animals. Okay. Animals. So say the same list will apply here. Lion, tiger. Okay, a cursor gets created because of this line. A cursor is going to get created. So this has been created. Okay, and first line says what? Print all the list of animals. Right, in the console you're able to see what are the animal list. We have lion, we have tiger, we have elephant, and we have dog. Okay, all this information, all the object related information is displayed like this in the console, because we are directly using println statement and we are giving the object reference. So lion followed by tiger followed by elephant followed by what? Dog. They got printed in the console just because of this line, because of this line. Okay, what is the first instruction that we have? System.out.println itr.next. Okay, we are working on two methods. What is the first method? itr.hasNext. Okay, and itr.next. Okay, firstly we are invoking this method itr.next method. So literally there will be some placeholders. Okay, this first, second, third, fourth, and it keeps going. Okay, so this is going to be pointing exactly. Okay, let me move this. This is exactly pointing here. Okay, so when you invoke itr dot ask next element, it is going to communicate with you in two ways, either true or false. Okay, it is just found there is a lion, there is some element, that element is what? Lion. Okay, you get answers in the form of boolean expression. Okay, either you will get true or false. Since element is already there, you will get true, right? So next method is you are invoking what? You are invoking the next method itself. Okay, this method is going to do two jobs. First job is the lion will be returned. This is going to be returned to you. Okay, so along with the true, is going to return the value lion. At the same time, this cursor is going to be moved up to the next line, right? So again you are calling what? So these two lines are done. Okay. Now again you are calling as next method. Okay, it will return true. Trigger is there, so it will going to return true, right? And after this you are calling what? You are calling itr.next method. So this itr.next method is going to communicate to you in two ways. One is what? It will return the value, object value, then the cursor will be moved to the next location. So you have what? Tiger. Okay, now third one. So now we are here. System.out.println itr.hasNext. Again you are calling itr.hasNext. Okay, it is going to say, is there any element on? Elephant is there, but it will not return elephant, it will return true. Okay, after this you are doing what? You are just calling the next method. Okay, this next method will return the elephant as well as it will move the cursor. Yes or no? So this is doing, it will move the cursor and it will return the next object, which is what? Elephant. Okay, now again, now you focus here. Now the fourth time you are calling as next element. As next element will return true or false because dog is there. So of course it is going to return true, right? After this, what you are doing, you are calling itr.next method. Okay, itr.next method is, this method will be invoked. When it is getting invoked, it will move the cursor. At the time of moving, it will remove, it will retrieve the value dog, right? So you will get what? Dog is the console. Okay, now you focus here. Now we are encountering a method called remove method. itr.remove method. When you say itr.remove method, okay, the object that is just before this cursor, the object that is just before the cursor will be removed. Here dog is the object that is just before the, not after the cursor, just before the cursor will be removed. Okay, it will not be removed here, it will be exactly removed from this list. From here you are just trying to remove what? You are just trying to remove this dog. Power of remove method. It will have the impact in the real objects itself. Okay, it will have such an impact in the real object itself. It's a real object. It's a real object. It has animal reference as lion, tiger, and elephant, isn't it? Right? The moment you do remove method, according to the cursor, the value that is just before the object that is just before the cursor will be removed. Dog will be removed. So dog has been deleted. Okay, after this, what you are trying to do? Fifth time, again you are invoking, again you are performing the method invocation. Is there any next element? There is no next element. Okay, nothing such element is there. Empty, it is empty. So you will get false. After doing all this, the last line, what you are trying to do, you are printing animals. You are printing list of animals. So what are the values that we have after removing, after using the remove method? Because the original object is affected, isn't it? So you have lion, right? And you have tiger, and you have elephant. Do you have dog? You don't have dog. Are you getting this? Right? That is why we got what we have lion, tiger, and elephant. Because dog has been removed successfully, this effect this has a direct impact in the original object itself. Even in the extra days class, we were trying to do some manipulation, not in the extra days class, in the previous session. When I say previous session, we were trying to do some manipulations, but we don't have such impacts, right? Original object was same. If you go back and to revise that, the original object was same. But here there is an impact in the original object. That is the power of remove method. If I want to concise this code, if I want to, keep this code very simple and tidy, what I can do, I can use the same while loop, right? And I can use what? itr dot hasNext. As long as the condition is true, it has to do what? It has to do itr dot next. Okay, but I want to remove something in the over here itself. Okay, what I'm trying to do here, I'm using a if condition. Okay, if itr dot next dot equals dog, I'm placing the condition here. So if this condition is satisfied, this itr dot next will return some value, isn't it? For the first time it will return lion, second time it will return tiger, third time it will return elephant, for the fourth time it will return dog. When it is dog, right, directly remove that. Right, placing a condition. So when you find the itr dot next, let me remove this. It is not required. Only one thing I want to do. When you find the itr dot next is dog, just remove that. Okay. Changes before removing. Okay. Changes after removing. Run this code. The animal that you want to remove will be removed. Dog has been removed. Impact is there, isn't it? But if you want to remove tiger, you have the control, right? You can remove tiger also. No, tiger is removed. If you want to remove lion, lion as well. Are you getting this? But if you want to remove tiger and lion, if you want to remove the more, I can use a or condition. Okay, so I can the tiger is already 1 minute. Let me write two if conditions. So if you want to, it is not working here because the cursor movement is taking over this. So I'm using two if conditions. Okay, if there is lion, remove lion. If there is tiger, remove tiger. So we have left with elephant, dog. Okay, if I do this for one more time, if I want to keep only dog, I can also do like that. I can place a condition in such a way that all the specific okay, elephant is getting over in. So this is happening because of this cursor movement. Okay, the cursor is getting advanced here. The cursor is getting forwarded and it is not able to find the relevant elements. Okay, when you do this, when you take pen and paper, you will be able to understand. Because of the cursor movement, it is not able to get removed. The cursor is getting moved in an advance. By the time it is getting moved here, okay, it is not able to find the required element. That's why we are getting no such element exception. Okay. So it works at some cases, not working at some cases. Ideally, if you want to keep working on removing some elements, you can use this formula. As simple as that. So this is the power of remove method. So please be informed that when you want to remove an element from the collection objects, you can use remove method This will remove the respective collection object. Okay, so this is not possible. You cannot use the string system.out.println. Possible for void type, right? So the disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages that we have? We have some disadvantages here. So it is used only to retrieve or remove elements. It is not used to insert or set an element. Okay, in order to overcome these disadvantages, we will use what? In order to overcome disadvantages, we will use list iterators. Okay, now I think you have understood the difference between the enumeration and the iterator. The enumeration, you can able to read elements, but in the iterator you can read elements or retrieve elements or you can remove elements. The impact is directly on the object. It's not used to insert or so since it is we are not able to use this, we will go for what the next topic, which is what list iterator. So when we discuss something, there will be some disadvantages and there will be some advantages. So we will just utilize the advantages, and if you find any disadvantages, Java has already come up with a solution. Okay, so that solution is what the list iterator. So with list iterator, we can conclude this cursor topic. Then we will go for set and queue. Set, queue, and map. Collection framework will be completed. Okay. So try to use pen and paper and